cookie. There's hot cookies from Tiff's Treats back here, if you're interested. I recommend them. Thank you.
She's dangerous, huh?
I like these. I got some cowboys. I never wear them hardly. There.
That's for any weather. That's what I miss about Bangalore. Because I went to work and I didn't even wear like a heat, but it was perfect weather.
Did it behave on graduation? Or do you have it?
You didn't get to see.
You
have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you have things rain?
I did. No one else did. No.
You other buildings have better. It's not.
See, complicated.
We're in now.
It's like, this is good. I could use the singles.
You know, these guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, we actually used to spend 3 hours playing with
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured.
drinking beer.
But eventually, like Scott and Nicole were like, guys, we should leave.
Yeah. Probably felt bad for you guys.
Was that Triple E?
No.
With the, okay, good.
Well, honey, isn't it around?
I went on vacation for a week.
Oh, yeah. Where'd you go?
Pennsylvania. I had to go cell phone service for
The cookies are really good enough. They're still warm, they're interested.
That's my key to just let other people get it. I ate a big lunch kind of late.
I just got a whim to get Tiff's Treats because they're so good. You'll see why. There's a slide that made me want to get them.
Okay.
We'll get started in just a couple minutes. And welcome everybody to the, thank you. Welcome to the IBM Watson Cognitive Tech Meetup. And we are being live streamed today, just so everyone knows. And you can go to Austin Tech Live on Twitter, or it might be austintechlive.com as well, to catch the stream or let people know that it's there. So anyway, tonight we're going to talk about smarter cities with Watson. And first we'll start with introductions, and what we'll do is we'll go around the room and let everyone say who they are. I imagine we'll still probably have a few people trickling in. And but I'll start with me. My name is Karen Kilroy, and I am CEO of Kilroy Blockchain. And that's my company. How many people have heard of blockchain? Okay, how many people have heard of it outside for uses other than Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? So kind of a mixed reaction there. Blockchain to boil it down to nuts and bolts, it's a database. And it's a database that multiple copies of which exist. So it's like a distributed ledger, and then each record is encrypted based on the contents of the previous record, thus making it difficult to hack. And so blockchain is being used by lots of enterprises and organizations way beyond, for purposes beyond trading money. It's being used to establish trust, like to make sure that something's real. And we'll be talking about different use cases as we go on. This is the Watson Meetup, and we're focused on AI. But it's what I've been finding the more I go down the road is there's a really fine line between artificial intelligence and blockchain. You need both. It's kind of like it's just your tools you need in your toolkit. And you'll see why as we go along. So I'd like to start, go around the room and introduce everyone. Lynn,
Yes.
would you like to go next?
I am Lynn Riley. I am Chief Information Officer for Blockchain.
My name is Fauzi Beeman. I'm with Telnet Management, a consulting company, specifically on IoT, covering all the way from sensing to analytics. And my background is communications and networking from service provider, equipment vendor, and semiconductor side.
Jeff, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm with Simple Cyber Technologies, and we work on the stuff you'll be using next.
I'm Georgia Sanchez, and I'm the lead developer of data science for Puremont.
Hi, I'm Hector Miranda from Innova brand, and we're developing an app for products.
What's the name of the company again?
Innova brand.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Rich Bogart, and I want to live in a smart city.
Great.
I'm Hiro. I'm a MBA student at the University of Texas. I used to be in social fiction, so maybe they're related to blockchain a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah, nice to see you.
super.
Hi, I'm Zane Sprague. I'm new to Austin. I just moved here last month. I'm going to UT for computer science, and I want to specialize in artificial intelligence.
Well, welcome. Thanks for coming.
My name is John Drury. I worked for IBM for many years, retired 4 years ago. I'm very into artificial intelligence, blockchain, essentially, just on personal.
Great.
My name is Catherine Bentley. I'm the co-founder of a technology startup here called Kentrance. We're an energy accelerator at Capital Factory. And we are automating sign language interpretation. So we have a platform, a cognitive services platform engine that we've built ourselves. And actually, IBM Watson's working on Accessible Ollie. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's a shuttle that is it's just a driverless shuttle for smart cities. And they're making it accessible. So we're considering joining the platform for sign language. So I wanted to learn a little bit more.
Oh, awesome.
Meet some folks from IBM to talk to you.
Oh, that's great. I'd
Thank
love
you.
to talk with you after. That's fantastic.
Hi, Annie Evans, data scientist, currently looking for a job, and also just brushing up on skills and learning new skills.
Okay, thanks.
I'm a money manager during the day, and I used to be a tech for 15 years doing IBM mainframe, and then I just like to take on tech my classes.
Great.
Dan Rupp, I'm a data scientist. I'm looking for work and trying to learn new technologies.
I'm Rohan Bahalia. I'm also a data scientist looking for work. I'm very interested in smart cities.
Ben Pablo, I'm a product manager, and I just really like data.
Great.
Chris Slitterman, broad spectrum designer, and I'm radioactive. Shake my hand.
Spent too much time at the Capitol? I said you spent too much time at the Capitol?
No, I grew up at a place called Nuclear Lake.
Oh, There's cookies in the back, by the way, from Fifth Street, so they're still warm. So if anyone came in late, wants
Anything to drink?
slip back and get cookies and water, help yourself. So. Okay.
No, I was gonna say, there's 3 people here who are data scientists looking for jobs. Did you all just graduate, or is there?
Yes, we're all came through the 12-week immersive program at Galvanize.
Yeah.
I finished in March and then was hired on temporarily for 13 weeks, and then these are the 2 newest graduates.
Cool, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, while people are getting their cookies and stuff, I'll just go over real quickly what tonight's agenda is. We got everybody, right? I didn't miss anybody?
Got newbies.
Okay. We're going to talk about 3 main points tonight. We're going to talk about what makes a city smart. And that's really, that's still a matter of debate among a lot of circles, people who really know what they're doing. And there's still like a lot of, well, this makes a city smart, or that makes a city smart. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about how Watson is helping to shape smarter cities and what IBM has already done with Watson. And then finally, we're going to talk about the smart city plan for Austin. And the city of Austin has been really open. No, I'm not affiliated with the city of Austin, and I don't work for IBM. This stuff is just all open information, and I've gone to a lot of meetings and learned this stuff. So I'm happy to share what I know, and I also want to know what you guys know, because these fields are all so broad that there's no way one person knows everything. As soon as you think you know, you kind of got it, then all of a sudden something from left field, oh wow, I never heard of biometric identification. I guess I need to look at that. So. And also, too, just one more word, reminder, we're live streaming tonight. So
Watson with us?
Watson?
Yes.
Yeah, Watson is, Watson's just with us in spirit. I'd like you, huh?
Can we talk to Watson?
You can talk to Watson, but I'll have to show you the URL at the end to talk to Watson.
Okay.
Of course, you can silently talk to Watson.
Now
if you like. So we have 2 Watsons. We have Watson, which was the founder of IBM, and Thomas J. Watson founded IBM in 1911, and then 100 years later, Watson the cognitive system was named for IBM's founder, and it was designed to beat the grand champions of Jeopardy. That was the primary reason that it was built. And it was based on Deep Blue technology, which had come along a few years prior to beat the chess champion. Okay, so smart cities. What makes a city smart? This particular city, I believe it was Tokyo, just said that, well, they're going to adopt Bitcoin. And you can go in Burger King now and spend your Bitcoin. And so, that's an interesting thing. Some might say that makes a city smart. Some might say, lights that can turn on and off at certain times makes a city smart. What are some things that you guys have heard of that you think makes a city smart?
Resource optimization.
Resource optimization, that's a good one.
Traffic that doesn't stop.
Traffic that doesn't stop. To try to get over that hump.
Predictability.
Predictability, oh, that's a good one.
Should contribute to improving quality of life.
High quality of life, right? We're going to talk about Dubai. You know their motto? You've worked there. Happiest place on earth. They want everyone to be the happiest place. They want to be the happiest place on earth. That's right, isn't it?
What was that?
Yes.
What was that company's name?
What's that?
The happiest place on earth. What was that? What was
Dubai wants to be
Dubai.
the happiest place on earth. The city of
was
Dubai in UAE. Yeah, they want that's their goal, is to be a smart city, and to them, smart city is happy people. So what are
that's
some?
on Nepal's that has a happiness quotient or a national quotient.
A happiness quotient, yeah. Yeah, they probably have that. So at any rate, so what are some other things, smart city things that you've heard of? Or you mentioned the little buses, the.
Inclusion, like, I mean, leveling, access to services, either through digital transformation or adoption of technologies that make it accessible for every single person in the city.
That's wonderful, yeah,
So,
accessibility.
To people with mobility challenges and people who experience the world differently. Like technology today really should include them. It's not a social good thing, it's a smart city thing.
Yes, yes. Yes, anything else? Welcome. Oh, sorry, you here for the Watson meetup?
Yes.
Okay, great. Also, so you know, there's cookies and water back there. Thanks for coming. Where are you from?
We're here local. I do a VR startup.
Oh, okay,
And
fantastic.
we've got a visitor from out of town who's at a Girls Who Code IBM internship.
Well, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Welcome. Yeah, we were just kind of getting into this, and we're talking about what things make a city smart. And we've decided that for sure nobody knows the answer. So we're just throwing it out there and putting it all together. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Anybody else?
This ability to predict the needs for city and civic services and then be able to deliver them as they're needed without waste.
That's really good. That was excellent. Very well put. The ability to deliver city services without waste, so it's predictable. And we'll see some of that in the examples of the smarter cities that have won the Smart Cities Challenge.
What about collecting massive amounts of data?
Massive amounts of data,
That's
yes.
the NSA's job.
The massive amounts of data are what's happening. Where's that data coming from?
Excuse me, that's invasive, that's not smart.
Well, there's the thing is there's a lot of data, and we're going to talk about where it comes from. So let's go on that note, and does anybody else have anything else to add to the? Yeah, sure.
Smart signage?
Smart signage. Oh, that's a big one.
Maybe get you away from an area you don't want to be, or take you an area you didn't know about that you wanted to see, like a festival or a farmer's market or something like that.
Right. Yeah. That's
So
really a good
discovery,
one.
right? Because you might not even know what was going on in the city.
That's very neat. That's very cool. Anybody else have any other smart cities things that they've heard of or
I
ideas?
guess one of the most emerging popular notion is the having a multifunctional smart street light,
Multifunctional smart street light. Okay.
which would be a pole, not only having the light connected to the grid, but have also all types of sensors mounted on the pole for other functions.
Okay. So what he's saying is, and I'm repeating this because we're streaming and everything. It's the traffic light isn't just a traffic light anymore. Now it's a traffic light and performs a lot of other functions for the city.
Gamification of urban behavior.
Gamification of urban behavior. Boy, that's a good one. That's one of those things that makes you go, huh? Yeah. It's like,
So along the same thing he was talking about managing the flow of traffic, one of the things that could be done is that they could direct the traffic to flow in areas where they weren't stopped up. So that, so that if we were driving through downtown, do we drive through on Congress, do we drive through on Lavaca, Colorado Street, Brazos Street, San Antonio Street, which one, or do we use them all? The trend might be to always use Guadalupe, but the reality is if we use 5 streets instead of 1, and we have some way to distribute that, that's one thing. Getting even smarter would be to know how many people travel this path that's kind of obstructed and find out where they're going and make arrangements for them to do it during the day at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody being there at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8:30, but arrange with the businesses to where that they distribute the traffic load across a broader period of time purposely.
That's really good. So to sum it up, you're suggesting staggered times for traffic and distributed routes. So we're not all trying to go on the same little piece of road at exactly the same minute. Yeah.
Just want
want to make a suggestion before I conclude, but listening to the inputs people are putting in, there's a lot of invested cognitive expenditures. I think you should consider having a workshop where we have a different environment of interacting with each other.
That's a really good suggestion.
Sometime in the future.
You know, that's a really good suggestion, and you know, after I finish my presentation today, then, you know, that'll, I'm sure wheels are gonna be turning, and I think that would be wonderful. I would definitely be into doing that. So I'm gonna go on. So this is what it all boils down to, nuts and bolts, and I think you said it right there. All the things that we wanna do are based on data, and especially once you get down to predictions and rerouting traffic and staggering lead times. And what's happening in cities is there's just so many sources of data. Many sources. There's structured data, right? How many people have worked in IT? Yeah, so how many people have worked with a database at some point in their life? Yeah, so it's rows and columns, spreadsheets, right? Data. We've all seen it. Names, addresses, phone numbers, how much they bought. You know, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Structured data. There's a lot of structured data out there in the world sitting on servers, and especially in cities. Now, you would think, oh, that's a wasteland, but bear with me. You'll find out that it's probably not. Then there's unstructured data. And what's some unstructured data types? You can get some clues up there.
When you flush your toilet.
That is, well, no, I don't know if that would be
Population?
unstructured or not, but let's hold that one for right now. What's some obvious ones? Richard?
Yeah, I think it's something as nebulous as public opinion.
Public opinion online, yeah. Blogs, comments.
It could be video clips or voice messages.
Video clips, voice messages, tweets, Facebook, you know, Wikipedia. There's just, you know, all kinds of just data, just unstructured data floating around out there.
Just your activity as you move through the city.
What's that?
I said your activity as you move through the city is unstructured, you know. They don't keep track of every cell phone or every car is tracked.
Yeah.
Unstructured environment.
By unstructured, well, I'm not sure exactly if that would count as unstructured. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's a little bit different classification. That's your IoT stuff, where they're actually like calculating data right out on the sensors for traffic and things like that. Yeah.
By unstructured, are you also including chaotic behavior?
Chaotic behavior, yeah. Like, you know, because there are ways that, you know, with big data, you can crawl very large amounts of the web, or large amounts. It could be internal documents that you've had that go back to the last 20 years that your staff has written that's sitting on a server somewhere. So any kind of unstructured things as opposed to rows, columns, fields for the data. Hybrid data. Now, when you hear the term hybrid these days, it usually means some of the data is inside the organization and some of the data sits outside the organization. So in the case of, you know, there could be unstructured data outside the organization in tweets, but in unstructured data inside the organization in collections of documents that they've had for the last 50 years. You know, or I guess it'd be like 40 maybe. But you know, that kind of thing, just mounds and mounds of this data that nobody knows what it is. We've all seen it at one time or another, I think. But some of it sits inside the organization. Most of it actually sits inside the organization, and a small amount of it is outside most organizations. Permission data. Okay, now this is a big topic, especially in cities. Hi, Matt. The permission data, it would be like as if you can't let someone see it. It's sensitive, you know. Spousal abuse, reports on spousal abuse, something like that might be tracked. But that's not something you want. You know, they might have made certain arrangements in certain areas to help prevent spousal abuse through social services, but that's not something that's public, and that's something that's never anybody's business to look up. So, you know, there's different levels of permission on data. And that's one of the big issues in cities is who gets to see what. And then also too, now that a lot of cities are going with open data, where they'll just let anyone grab their data, now it's the problem of, okay, how do we know who took it and what they're gonna use it for? And, you know, because it used to be you'd fill out a form, you know, wait 2 weeks, get a CD in the mail, you know, that kind of thing, and it's all changed. So now they've kind of lost, they're worried about a loss of control of the data. And one thing that they're talking about in some cities is using a blockchain for that, to track who takes that data. Big data. Who's familiar with the term big data? Okay, and Hadoop and how massively crawls, right? It's like yum yum, lots and lots of data. Let me grab the data from the whole world, and then we'll give it to you on what? A spreadsheet, right? No, bop. So what's happening here is this is where the breakdown is, because a lot of places haven't got past spreadsheets, and their big data teams got data, but guess what? You know, as human beings, we can't make sense of it. It's just too much. Now we've also got live Internet of Things data, all the little sensors. Some cities have billions of data streams coming in simultaneously from these little traffic sensors and you know, pedestrian sensors and you know, parking meter sensors and light sensors and billions of data streams. Now, who is going to ever be able to do anything with that? So, you know, it's a big challenge. And what it leads to with our wetware, right, our brain, is data overload. It's just too much. You know, we can only take so much. And there's some nice spreadsheets. And it's, you know, to me, I was just thinking about it the other day. It's kind of fascinating how long spreadsheets have been king. Like, they're like, oh yeah, I beat the calculator. I'm on the top of the mountain still. Here, 30 years later, we still have spreadsheets, and they're getting pretty complicated. And what we need instead of spreadsheets is we need actionable knowledge. All this data doesn't mean anything if you don't understand it and you can't take action on it, and even predictive action. And that's where everything starts to click into place, and you start to get something for having all this data. And Watson is what can assemble all this data and make sense of it. Watson, it learns and it's taught to think and reason like a human. You give it a corpus of data, this particular topic, which they call a domain, and then and you give it intents that someone might have, and then questions someone might ask, that type of thing, and you can educate Watson. And a lot of the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of the AI pieces are done already by the IBM team. So what you can have is a team of data scientists working on educating Watson, and that's what Dorothy has joined my company for. She's our lead data scientist. She has many, many years of data science background, and so she's the perfect person to help us feed all these sources together. And then Watson says, yum, data. And it thinks about it, it can learn, and this is why I wanted cookies. I guess I'm easily influenced. I had to have cookies. Subliminally, I was like, oh, no, cookies. What's making me want chocolate chip cookies so much?
Childhood memory.
But yeah, Watson loves data. And it's fun, you know, I put Cookie Monster, Watson actually does a lot with Sesame Street, helping young children learn. But yeah, Watson will just digest all the data from everywhere. If you have a data scientist like Dorothy to run the show and get everything all into, it's a standard called UIMA, U-I-M-A. And that's the standard that Watson uses, where it's a universal data standard. Okay, so Watson basically can become a subject matter expert. And it's not designed to replace humans. What it's designed to is make us smarter and make us so we can make better informed decisions, and not only looking at a spreadsheet going, yeah, I see, here's the answer. No, we have multiple answers, and we have what if answers, and we have not just what if at like a spreadsheet where you change a number and a bunch change, but a bunch of different theories on what we could do in ranking for how likely it is that that is a probable course of action that you should take. Watson simulates human thought, and there are really a lot of things that that break down how Watson works to simulate human thought. But basically, you can give it a body of information that's like its baseline truth, and you can give it more information, like, okay, here's a bunch of other stuff that you need to know, and Watson can say, okay, and reason with the information, fill in the blanks and that are missing, and it can come to assumptions, conclusions that are not necessarily verbatim in the information it's studying. So it can learn, and then it can learn how to learn faster. There's really a lot to it, and again, this is a data science job. Watson learns, and here is one of the big things with AI. Now, Watson learns, but if someone teaches it the wrong thing, it's just like a kid. If you teach it the wrong thing, they're not going to know that it's true. And Watson might see this picture and say, okay, yeah, Ronald Reagan had 17 eyes. And how's it going to know? Well, with its logic, it could say, okay, yeah, human beings have 2 eyes. Ronald Reagan is a human being. Therefore, Ronald Reagan has 2 eyes. It could come to that conclusion by itself and say, this is bad data. But what another way you can do it is you can have like a blockchain involved, like integrate with blockchain. So let's say you have a picture and you really did, you have this alien with 17 eyes, and you want to make sure that everyone knows forever that that's real. You can put it in a blockchain and certify it through a consensus. Yeah.
I don't know if Watson would use probability, but how many people have 1 eye? How many people have 2 eyes? Maybe how many have 3, and then extrapolate the 17 and see. It's a very, 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 very minuscule possibility. It's still there.
It might, yeah.
And it could reason that that's true. Maybe never true, but true.
It's hard to say. Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Can it handle quantum facts?
I'm not sure. Okay, so IBM blockchain, that's where you can establish trust on things like okay, so let's say we did have this alien and we kind of captured him, and we got some pictures of him, and now we want to make sure the whole world knows that was real.
Oh, you put it on YouTube?
I can yeah, well, what we can do is we can make a smart contract that shows consensus that was real. Like, I can approve it, then you can approve it, and then it goes to the smart contract. And in the future, anyone that wants to examine that image can see the hash of it in the blockchain and check the validity of it. So that's kind of the theory. And all the stuff is new, so exactly how you do it is all still up in the air. So then next part I want to talk about is smarter cities. And we'll go through a few IBM smarter cities. Smarter Dubai. Now, my company, Kilroy Blockchain, we have a fellow that's in Kathmandu, one of our partners, and he went to Dubai earlier this spring to the RegTech MENA conference, and that's regulation technology for that area. It was for the Middle East and Northern Africa region. And anyway, I did some research on Dubai. There was a lot of interest in blockchain in Dubai. Deepak demoed blockchain there. these are some things that Dubai is doing with Watson and blockchain. They have the Cognitive Center of Competence in Dubai. And this is a collaboration between IBM and the government that helps the people of Dubai get benefit from IBM technologies, Watson and blockchain. And then they have like a really practical problem that they've solved here. They had problems with people waiting to try to get business licenses in Dubai, and it was just like a big hassle and trying to prove their identification, and it was like they'd have to go multiple times, and they've cut that down so most people don't have to go more than once now through a Watson application and a blockchain system for identification. So this is another one of their applications. They've got a citywide pilot with IBM. They're collaborating with IBM and 8 organizations across 3 countries to track imports and exports to and from Dubai using blockchain. Okay, and then these are some of their other pilot projects that they're attacking with blockchain. Dubai is going hard into blockchain. They're trying to increase trade efficiency. They want to secure the diamond trade. They're digitizing healthcare records. Tourism, they have a loyalty point system that they put into place for tourism. They want more efficient wills, so when someone passes on and their property's passed to someone else, it's not caught up in court forever. They want to be able to exchange goods and provide financing, and then there's the bottom one that we talked about, which is more efficient ID for business registration. Okay, Smarter Paris. This is one of their fanciful future drawings. Yes?
Sorry, before you get to Paris.
Sure.
I kind of have a little bit of context for Dubai. I lived there.
Sure.
I started a company in Dubai. And I just wanted to say, like, absolutely true. Know about these projects in Dubai. And for data scientists who are looking for work, if you're interested in really being part of cutting edge technology, Dubai, and being part of building that, Dubai is an amazing place to start. So I encourage you to look at that. Also, Dubai is really, it's been 40 years, but they have built this amazing city out of the desert in 20 years. And so they have a lot of problems, and they are far from even working half efficiently as we do. But the greatest thing about Dubai is they actually love to try anything. And so I really see like this potential, this partnership is amazing. Also what they're doing, and I don't think they take security much more seriously than any other country I've ever been to. And so they built on their own a cognitive platform for matching face recognition, which they have cameras. You can't see them, but they have cameras everywhere in every kilometer on every highway. And so they can read a face in the car and match it because every single person is tracked who enters the country.
Wow.
They can track it and match it to passports or any kind of legal ID that they have in their system. So they keep their security on their own platform. So I wouldn't imagine that they're doing this through IBM. They have different security protocol. But anyway, this is an example of like a way, one of the things that they're doing for human identification and security is through this facial recognition and matching. So they find criminals like this.
Wow.
And it sounds a little Big Brother, but if security is your thing, it's a great country to get to. Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, before you jump to Paris, so what's the difference between IBM blockchain versus the standard blockchain?
Okay, IBM has branded a version of Hyperledger.
Okay.
Right now, there's really 2 main blockchain technologies that are used for enterprise level blockchain, and one's Hyperledger, and then the other one's Ethereum. Microsoft has branded Ethereum under Azure.
Okay, so there are two
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, and other than that, they're all, you know, homebrew, public blockchain, you know, a big mix, but those are really the two big enterprise ones now, so. Yeah. Okay, we good to move on to Paris? This is, I thought this was kind of cool. This picture was, from a future, plan, you know, I think it was 2050, Paris in 2050 with all the greenery and the trees and the little swirling skyscrapers with the gardens inside. It was pretty neat. The French national train operator SNCF uses the Watson Internet of Things platform, and what they use it for is trains. They have sensors on the trains and the tracks to reduce failures and improve reliability, and then they also have preventative maintenance. And this is a whole thing. The whole concept of preventative maintenance and predictive maintenance is a game changer, because now instead of always going out to the trains and in 3 months and doing these 5 things, these 5 preventive maintenance things, now you know when they're going to need it, because you can actually predict when things are wearing out, wearing down. And you could do maintenance as it's needed, right before it's needed, as opposed to just blanket preventative maintenance that's not, you know, tailored to each specific train. So that's that's a big money saver, and it also keeps things from breaking down more. Is this better at guessing what's going to break? Okay. Okay, here I get to try to say this name. Smarter Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki, I think is it. Thessaloniki. Does anybody know how to say that better than I just said it? This is in Greece. It looks like a beautiful place. And they are the 2017 recipient of the IBM Smarter Cities Challenge Award. And their challenge, they want to use the open data. Like I was mentioning, Austin's interested. Austin's already providing open data. They want to help the city have a strategy and tactic that help them use open data to encourage further transparency, benchmarking, key performance indicators, and data sharing between public departments, businesses, universities, non-governmental organizations, and citizens. So they want their whole extended community to be able to talk and share data. And one thing that came out in the Smart Cities Conference is a lot of times people don't want just their community and their, you know, and their community organizations like universities and hospitals. They also want the county, the next county over. You know, all these people share resources at some level. And if they can share data at that level, at some level, then they are really making a lot more out of what they have. Some past IBM Smarter Challenge City Award recipients. Syracuse, New York did something on home foreclosures and predicting what neighborhoods would have home foreclosures and predicting what neighborhoods would have vacant houses. So they could do something about it before it happened and intervene. South Korea, they did an application to help tourism, help increase tourism. Dublin did an application that helps. This is an AI application for eco-friendly solar power. Memphis, Tennessee did one for to help improve the health emergency response times through AI, through predicting where and when they would happen. A Smarter Austin. We have a very smart city-oriented mayor. Mayor Adler is very active in the smart city world. And like a year ago, we were almost selected. We were one of the finalists. Austin was one of the finalists for a big smart city grant. Millions of dollars would have helped kick off all our projects and fund everything. And we lost it to Columbus, Ohio. but what we did win out of it is the beginning of a smart city plan. And it was a pretty good, you know, first wide brush. Mayor Adler, a smart city is a city that uses technology. Yes, it's an operating in a resilient and renewable way, but at its very core, a smart city is a city that has truly been able to look inside itself and identify what its challenges are, much like we did today. What its people and residents need to have the quality of life they want, and to uniquely craft solutions to enable the city to be able to deal with those challenges. So I think that was as good a definition as I've heard of smart city. And I think I might add, you know, my own twist on that would be, let's take advantage of the technology that gives us knowledge, that turns this data, this massive amount of data into knowledge, and then let's use it to predict and do what ifs. So instead of building that third lane on the highway, we do a what if, and we find out, well, if we move this, then the bicycles will start getting run over by the cars because it's bad positioning, people are turning left and we can't put the bike lane over there, you know, on and on. Someone can play with things and do what if before one single penny is spent on any construction. City of Austin, they've been very transparent with everything they've got going on. These were their roadmap goals that they came up with a while back, I think last year. And then this is their progress on where they are. And, you know, one of their main things that they had to do was decide what they wanted to focus on, you know, what the priorities were, what they thought they could address. And then you know, they're putting the residents at the center. That's kind of the big thing with all this. You want the people to be at the center of the design. You want to make sure that things are fair and equitable, and that they are accessible for everybody. So these are all things that the city's considering, so this is kind of where they stand on things. They have gone through the process of getting themselves together, as far as when you have something like a big city organization, you have a lot of silos and a lot of buckets and a lot of organizations that aren't used to talking to each other at all. And so from what I understand, that was one of the big things that the city of Austin feels like, okay, we'll have a successful project where everyone can work together. We're there. They feel like they're there, where they've got everybody talking. So they're past that first hurdle. They've been, let's see what else we got on here. They've been having workshops. They've been looking at they've been inventorying the initiatives that they already have going. And then into this year, they became a US Ignite partner. And US Ignite was the organization that held the Smart Cities Connect conference that I just went to. And they're actually part of the National Science Foundation and NIST. So it was really a good workshop. Let's see here. They've had hackathons. They have grants open for ideas. They're just doing everything that they can. They've got also a strategic roadmap that's available that you can go review. And then they've got, you can actually go into the Google Doc for a few more days and you can change it. You can make suggestions right into the Google Doc, and you can actually help form the city's smart city strategy. And you can get to it from that tiny URL that I set up there at the top. But that is, it's really interesting. I spent a couple hours in it making changes. Yeah, no.
Karen, what do you think is the #1 smart city project that the mayor wants to go after?
The #1 project that the mayor wants to go after.
Or the city council. I know in one of your previous slides, the road, it showed a list of priorities and it was coded yellow. So that indicates that there might still be some discussion going on at the very bottom.
This was their goals, and it didn't really list any particular projects. In one of these links, they've got the different areas. Let me see here. We can go to one of them.
I didn't mean to take.
Oh no, I don't care. I'm almost done with the presentation anyway, so let's just take a look at this. This is where you can get to the Google Doc, and then there's also the roadmap, which I think is this. This is the, some of this came from the roadmap. That's an interesting quote. I haven't seen a smart city yet. It's like, you know, they have their big areas defined, like traffic, housing. Yeah, I can't remember what they all are right now. Traffic, and then housing. housing. And probably, I believe, jobs, you know, is in here too. Let's see if it's in here. Data. As you can see, there's a lot of really interesting things that they've got out here. So yeah, I think the main things are the traffic and the housing. There's a lot of other things. Homelessness. There's another one. Big one. Health, criminal justice, seeds of transformation. So, yeah, they have everything that you would want to know is available publicly. And there's also really good things you can go to. I joined Austin Tech Alliance. And they have a lot of interesting things that they send us and a lot of interesting meetings. I was going to show you this Google Doc also. Let's see here. And this is really cool because you can just change it. And it'll put your changes as suggestions. So it's really a good chance, like, especially for people that like say, oh, I don't like what's going on. It's like, well, here's your shot. You can go in and change it. As you can see, I have a lot of changes. I added a lot of things. I added a lot of things about data. And I added some things about predictive analysis that weren't in here. So it was fun. Yeah. Here's the list. Here's the list. Let's see. Principles. Accessibility, equity, inclusion, privacy, security, transparency, and resilience. That's not exactly functional areas that they're going after.
I've heard traffic is a main.
I'm sure traffic is a big one. Traffic and housing. I think we could probably sit here and guess them. Let me see if I find traffic. I don't think it's in this one. I think this is this is more of like a roadmap of, like a strategic roadmap of how the function, you know, what kind of things to consider for technology as opposed to, oh, there it is, safety, mobility, health, cultural and learning opportunities, government that works, and then economic opportunity and affordability. I think those were the ones. So we found them. So anyway, let me go back to my slides. So summary, smart cities are fed by data. And Watson can then take the data and turn it into knowledge. And who knows what is a really good reason you want to do that besides predictive analysis for the city. Besides being able to guess and predict. It's going to pay for all the rest of your projects. If you have knowledge that you can sell to other cities or other interested parties, then you can turn, right now they can sell data, right? They can take the data, sell data, and use that for traffic, or use that to pay for some of the projects. But that's tricky, because how are you gonna sell the data if it's open? You know, so what you can do better is you can sell the knowledge, and then use the knowledge to pay for the projects. So, and then plus some of the things that you will prevent doing, like building a road and realizing you shouldn't have built the road. You know, that once you do that once, and I think this is pretty much paid for. Yeah.
Is there any collaboration with like Data.world or Data for Democracy or any of those groups that are local or OpenHack, anything like that?
Is there in the city, does anybody know the answer to that? In the city meetings, I haven't heard those names mentioned. The city meetings, I think, are open to everybody. But I haven't heard like those names mentioned in particular, but a lot of the stuff is like happening really fast. You know, people are just getting on the bandwagon. Let's see, so we know Watson turns data into knowledge. IBM blockchain provides a source of truth. One of the things that you could look at if you're interested in learning about something neat that's being done with blockchain is look up Walmart and blockchain. And you'll see this big project that Walmart is doing with IBM to prove the origin of the food that they're selling. So, and what I would say, you know, next will be Whole Foods, probably, and Amazon. So I would think that that's all coming. And then, you know, how that'll affect you as a consumer is when you're in buying something, you'll be able to check with your phone and see where it came from. Yeah, so before you eat it. Okay, so IBM is a leader in smart cities initiatives, and Austin is on a fast track. And we can help. You know, I don't know if they'll go IBM or if they'll have another solution, or you know exactly what they're going to do. I think all these problems are just being thought out, and really the only thing I've heard them like absolutely commit to is that they want to work with local startups. So, thank you for attending. We've got some meetups coming up, and we can use, you know, we have some time left before we have to get out of here, so you're welcome to hang around and talk for a while. The next meetup is Thursday, August 17th, and it's probably going to be at Galvanize at the IBM Blue Mix Garage. And I'll tell you a couple stories since we have some time, if you don't mind, a couple of quick stories. The IBM Blue Mix Garage, I got to go over there. Who's heard of that? Okay, yeah, some of the folks and some people heard Evan talking about it at the last meetup, the guy from IBM. But it's kind of neat. I mean, it is really neat. They have a special area set up where either startups can go in and work to get a project launched and work with IBM engineers, or companies, big, large established companies that have older ways of doing things can go in and work with IBM as almost like they're a startup. So they get like a whole different way of doing things instead of long product cycles with meetings and all that. They learn how to develop really short applications, proof of concepts, services that do something, and then connect the services and do very rapid application development and fail fast. That's the big thing they say, is you want to fail fast. And that's a new thing for a lot of big, you know, corporate places. They don't have failure in their culture, so they have to learn, okay, this is what we do now. And so that's the Blue Mix Garage. So we're gonna be over there, I think. I'm pretty sure that this is gonna actually happen. I'm gonna put it up as soon as I have it confirmed 100%, that Thursday, August 17th and there'll be 6 people from IBM at that one. And at that one, you can bring your laptop if you like, and they'll actually walk us through how to do some things, how to set up some things in Watson. Now, also too, watch for Watson Hackathon in September. IBM is going to work with us on bringing us a hackathon here. And and that'll probably be at Galvanize also. And then look for free trials of Blue Mix and Watson on IBM.com. And you can reach me. I'm Karen Kilroy, Karen@KilroyBlockchain.com. And I'd like to just tell you one last little story. My company, Kilroy Blockchain, like I said, we're IBM partners. I started learning about blockchain last September. And I started learning it here at Capital Factory. There was a Hyperledger meetup, and then a blockchain hackathon that weekend. And so, you know, I got really quick into indoctrination. I'm an e-commerce software engineer, a Magento developer by career, and so like I just became really interested in it and dove in. And IBM was really helpful as a small company. I applied to get in their global entrepreneur program, and they accepted us, and so then we were able to access everything that IBM offers at no cost. And so that was really a big deal to help us get going and help us turn the corner. And then we kept going. We found out about the IBM Watson Build Challenge. And so we thought, what the heck, let's enter the IBM Watson Build Challenge. And then that's what got us into artificial intelligence in Watson. And so we entered it, and we were selected as finalists. And we just found out like a week and a half ago, we're one of 23 companies in North America that were selected as finalists to actually build your product working with IBM. And we have to deliver a working proof of concept by October 1st. Our idea is actually named after my partner, Lynn Riley. We call it Riley, but the name, it kind of named itself. It's called Real Life Adventure. And what it does is it allows someone who's blind or visually impaired to take their phone or their smartphone or tablet and say, Riley, look around. And Riley will say, let's say we're in a park. Okay, we're in our wheelchair in the park. Maybe our family pushed us out there, and we're blind. We're in a wheelchair in the park. Say, Riley, look around. Riley says, oh, you're in a beautiful park. There's a tall tree 50 meters to your left, and there's a bench beneath the tree, and I see 2 people on the bench. Well, who are the people? Oh, those are your parents. Well, do they look upset? No, they look happy. Well, what are they doing? Oh, they're feeding the birds. So now all of a sudden you've taken a near panic situation where you're sitting by yourself so long and you don't know where everybody went. Now you know where everybody went. And so it's a big deal for folks that are blind and visually impaired. I had the good fortune of being able to work with the Texas School of Blind and Visually Impaired. It was the Venture Group is what they call it. It's young people that come back after high school and learn how to live life. Okay, they learn how to do basic things, cook, take care of themselves, just all your basic life things that we take for granted because we can see. But anyway, one of their teachers formed a dragon boat activity for them. I'm a dragon boat coach, and if you don't know what a dragon boat is, I'll show you, because I know there's got to be somebody in here there's got to be multiple people that have not seen dragon boats. I will show you what one is. Like that. That's actually my old team. They came up at the top. That's a breast cancer survivor team I used to coach back in my home in Akron, Ohio. But that's what a dragon boat looks like. Now these kids who can't see, most of them never been on the water before. They conquered all their bravery and they got on this boat and paddled but I got to spend a lot of time with them, and I got to spend a lot of time with them waiting for the races and also practicing. And one of the young ladies that was completely blind, and when she walked out on the dock for the first time, she says, "I felt this before in my games," because she plays adventure style games, the old adventure style games where like you've got a sword and you're trying to fight for your to save your daughter from the dragon, that kind of thing. She gets them all with audio. So anyway, that's what made me think of the idea, and we were selected, and that's what we're doing. And so yeah, if anybody's interested in finding out more, just let me know. We're all happy. But that, in a way, is a smart city initiative, because what we're doing is we're stitching out an area that will have smart images, and they'll be verified in the blockchain, so you can't spoof it. But that's all I had for today. Does anybody else have anything they want to say to the group? But yeah.
I just had a quick question about
Sure.
what you thought would be the most, the biggest problem for smart cities right now besides funding and actual actionability. Is it, because I kind of got confused in your presentation. Are we struggling with gathering data, labeling data, structuring data, modeling data? Because you kind of just said that Watson just learns from data, but that's not necessarily true, right? We kind of have to know what question we want to ask before we actually tell something to be modeled, right?
Well, you would have to know what you usually would populate it with intents, but I guess it would depend on what you're modeling. It would there's a whole process where you give it large bodies of information, and it digests it and learns from it and fills in the blanks, and then you can tell it certain questions to expect, and you can give it certain synonyms and things that someone might phrase it a certain way. But as far as there are tools that are provided by IBM that are Watson tools. There's one called the Data Science Experience that lets you consolidate all those various types of data into one body.
Yeah, I think Austin has been collecting traffic data, but about smart city in Austin, they don't have a final plan. They're still in the planning stage.
Yeah, in Austin,
so they're collecting data. Also, there's data science, all kind of different people. Some department collecting data, but they do not have a final plan. They're still exploring.
Right.
Yeah, Austin has a lot of projects that are at varying stages, and they're just starting to realize, okay, we have to have some kind of common platform for this. We can't just have 500 different vendors offering us little isolated solutions. So, they're getting to that point already in Austin where they know they're going to need to do something.
So I guess to build off this question, are we saying that basically the main obstacle right now is sort of a combination of bureaucracy and a need to really define a good overall plan, sort of an ill definition of the problem?
Yes, and then the other problem is steady money.
Right.
Because even when they fund it with budgets start and stop, budgets go away when politicians change. And so what the city of Phoenix did was they partnered with an outside organization that keeps a level amount of funding coming in that isn't subject to the fiscal budgets. And I don't know exactly how they've made it work, but they're really happy about it. Phoenix is a really progressive, smart city.
It seems like the problem here is they failed to establish goals that can be accomplished, so nobody knows where the hell they're going yet. How do you get there if you don't know what your goal is?
Yeah, they're still they're trying to be methodical about it, though. I think they're being pretty methodical. They're following.
Have they established a single goal yet?
Yeah, they have a lot of goals. Yeah, if you look at the links, I'll put it up on our board, the links that I had, but you can go through there and they've got the goals outlined. And also too, like, and some of the methodologies and, like broader goals, like saying, oh yeah, we need to have, you know, a predictive system, or we need to have, you know, open data. Those things are all up for public comment right now in the Google Doc. Like you can go right in and make comments right in there and make suggested changes. And I don't know who decides what gets incorporated, but everybody can see it. It's interesting. I was surprised. I'm like, wow, I can change this. Here we go. They're gonna be sorry they did this. So does anybody have anything else? Yeah, sure.
So for smart cities, a huge part of it is like green implementation and smart energy. Is there any like data or projections about how quickly the carbon impact of like implementing all this is like overcome? So if it takes like 5 years to like with the improvements overcome the carbon impact of actually implementing the systems, like is that tracked by IBM? Do they pay any attention to that?
It's an excellent question. I don't know the answer to that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, Austin do not have a city manager yet. He's the one who's supposed to run this kind of program. So depend on city council, hire that manager, or once they have a plan, then they can execute, and also funding. I think that's why we're bidding on the $50 million funding for smart city a few years ago. But that money's not there.
It's not there. It's too bad, because I think they would have gone to
So
good
you find
use
some
here,
funding,
but.
the two things. Yes.
And see, you know, I think the other, you mentioned challenges, I think the other big challenge is, okay, how do you stay state of the art while you're trying to get the money and while you're trying to get all this stuff figured out? Now your plan, here it's 2 years old now, well now what, guess what, it's not state of the art anymore. So, you know, that's one of the things I put in the comments is how do you stay state of the art while you're trying to figure out how to implement your plan?
When you have these long contract cycles,
Yeah.
it just,
Long decision-making
yeah,
cycles
it
and
just
stuff.
kind of ruins a lot of that cutting edge stuff.
Yeah.
They're designed for what we'll have 3 years in the future.
Yeah, it's you know, I mean, I'm kind of wondering about the library. That's what made me think of it, because I said, oh, we have a state-of-the-art library that was supposed to be done 3 years ago. And it just made me wonder. You know, it's probably going to be fine because it's probably all digital, but it just made me stop and think, you know, if something's going to be state-of-the-art, you have to get it done fast. Or have a plan to update it. Anybody else got anything else?
If no one does, I have one thing, I have an
Sure.
answer to a question. Earlier, this gentleman asked whether or not, Watson handles quantum data. And so I found an article while we were looking around, while you were talking, and it's dated the beginning of March of this year, March 6th, and it says that IBM introduced a platform called IBM Q for quantum data, and, it says, to quote, the difference between, well, IBM Q is the first commercially available quantum computing system enabled through IBM's cloud platform. The difference between Q and Watson is that Watson can find the answers to problems based on large amounts of data, whereas Q can find answers to complex problems where the data doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, it's a quantum computer that they have constructed that you have a web interface to. They released it during South by Southwest period, not after South by Southwest.
But they're
They did
not-
announce it.
They're
And-
not
and
joined together.
They're not together, no.
Yeah. at
And
all.
so, then my question was, can Watson handle problems that are intrinsically, I don't know, probabilistically not calculable?
And it's back again to it's probably in the infancy of trying to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
You
probably
guys are
working
experts
on
on Watson.
interfacing it with Q
Right.
so that it can. You know.
Well, in the future, you know, we can get more, we can have a specific meetup on how Watson learns, and really get into the nitty gritty of it, and I'll make sure that I have a thorough presentation on it. I've been through the Jeopardy class, which is like a 10-hour class. It's really cool, and taught by the Jeopardy team. It's amazing.
It's free if anybody wants to do it. It's
Well, you have to be a business
amazing.
partner. It's only for business partners.
Oh, I thought you just had to have the ID. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's for business partners, but if you're IBM business partner, it's free. But it's the class of how it's taught by the Jeopardy team, and it tells exactly how it works. And but I could definitely put together some material for that in a future meetup if there's interest, and go through exactly those steps of educating it and making it learn, and it's really pretty fascinating. Yeah, sure.
So I quite get your business is based on IBM blockchain technology and view application.
Yes. Yes, we like to stay platform agnostic, but for right now, IBM has really been helping us, and so our vision is Kilroy Blockchain. We would like to offer. Well, we're working on a platform as a service. And we're targeting the regulation technology industry, and we want to set up industry vertical portals. So if you are from the fishing industry, you don't have to see smart contracts that have to do with the airline industry or the automotive industry. You don't have to really even know what blockchain does. You just go in there. Your regulation technology software would connect to our API. And then you would have a dashboard where you could configure, okay, I want IBM blockchain, and I want maybe Amazon AI, maybe you'd want Watson AI, but configure those things to work together. So that's our vision.
You mentioned, are there things have been developed and deployed using blockchain, or still at the evaluation stage?
You mean?
As your company?
Oh, my company is still R&D. I think probably the solution called Riley, real life adventure, that will be our first live blockchain application, because it's going to use blockchain to verify the images, to verify that the images are real before you give them to someone who's blind and say, here's what's there. You want to make sure that it's real, right? So we'll use blockchain technology to have a human consensus that looks at the images and says, yeah, this is really from that area. But that'll be our first blockchain application that's completed. But we also have a number of we have a integrator of regulation technology software that works for 80 banks in the Middle East that we have plans to work with. We're on their calendar. They're going to give us feedback on a little prototype we did for them. And we're working on something that we can connect the regulation technology software for the banking industry into the blockchain. So that's our first thing, yeah.
Does this blockchain technology that you're talking about deal with things like customs clearance between countries?
Yes. Yes, I think that could be definitely one of the applications for. I think that's one of the things Dubai is doing with it. Sure.
Just an observation. I don't know if anybody else has thought of this. I've been going to a number of these smart city presentations that come up, and also with like the City Up group, Austin Up, and one of the things I don't ever see come up into discussion is the idea of the commons, where we are all operating in a shared, maybe constrained environment, like roads. They're commonly shared, but they have a capacity limit, and when we exceed it, or it succeeded in some fashion, the network halts, and you have congestion. And I don't see people looking at this from the problem that we're dealing with is an unrestricted or a passive utilization of a confined resource that has multitudes of dimensions and I wonder if the idea that we just monitor it closely and analyze the behavior, we can optimize to get the system to be more resilient. I think initially it will work, but ultimately it's gonna be a demand that's not, recognized, but it becomes so overutilized, it becomes, it ceases to function for us. So I'd like to be able to talk to people who think about the commons and how we use it and how it impacts your use when it's too much. You know, there's the classic examples of the field that cattle would come in and graze on, and anybody could use it. But if you graze the commons, it would fall apart. You'd lose soil erosion. You would have plants that would turn to mud or dust because there's too many people, too much demand on it. So we have to manage it. And I don't quite get the impression with looking at managing the commons, but just optimizing, making sure we can do more with it.
That makes sense. I mean, there's really, really a lot you can do, and once you get into predictive systems, you know, you can play what if. And I believe that, you know, like I said, spreadsheet was king for so long, because remember the first time, and some of the older people, the younger people won't remember, but the first time you go, wow, if I change this number, all the rest of these numbers change. This is magic. I can say, what if I do this and what if I do that? Well, we're gonna get that same thrill of discovery once we really get our data into an intelligent cognitive system that can reason and think and digest the data better than we can ourselves. So with that, I'm gonna wrap up. I don't wanna keep everybody. And I have stickers. If you would like a Kilroy blockchain sticker. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to show you. If you see this magazine, or if you want to look this article up online, Harvard Business Review, brand new, has Ginny Rometty, CEO of IBM. Big article. Don't try to protect the past, says Jenny. And it's really interesting. It's one of those articles that if you start reading it, I recommend you have the 15 minutes or so to read it, because you can't put it down. She talks about how she cleaned house at IBM and got rid of all the businesses that, even though they were extremely profitable, weren't in with her vision for IBM. And it's taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to turn the corner and become focused on data being centric, and Watson being the intelligent piece, the cognitive piece that handles the data.
Is that what they did, like this month?
This is this month, and it is, let's see, I just got it, July, August 2017.
Perfect.
Harvard Business Review. So really good article. And with that, I'm sure by next month we'll know a lot more. So I hope I see you all back, and you know, help yourself to some cookies, and I'll get you stickers if anybody wants a sticker.
There's also some on the chat, too.
I have stickers and cards. And if I'm not connected with you on LinkedIn, you know, I encourage you to connect with us. Sure.
And are you primarily in Austin? Do you travel about a bit?
I'm in Austin mostly.
Great, so I'd love to get together with you, because I
Okay.
think there's a lot of intersection. We're also working with large banking institutions in Dubai, and so I think I can.
Do you have a card?
I don't, I'm gonna send you an email that
Okay,
right now.
can you tell me your name again?
Catherine Beck.
Okay, great.
Catherine, thank you.
I'd like the Akron, Ohio shout out. I'm from Medina.
Oh, no kidding.
That's my right at the bottom. I said
Yeah,
Medina, Ohio.
I will do
It's
that,
like
and then I wanna set up
I
a
only
meeting
know
with
two
you.
Akrons, Akron,
Please,
Iowa, and Akron,
please.
Ohio.
When did I say about Akron? Enjoyable?
Did you say you're from there?
Yeah, from there. Oh, yeah, I guess I did say, yeah, that's all right.
Anyways.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so Medina,
Yeah.
what brought you here?
Work.
Yeah.
And also, I've been in love with Austin for 20 years, so finally I'm like, I better just move down here.
Look at that good man.
All right.
Yeah. It's fine. Nice to see you too, sure, thank you. Verify those. I would love to present somebody, yeah, and verify the information. Somebody will be able to verify when, yeah, when you're using that says, there's something right there, there's a key card that's taking the person out now. When it does that conversation, that person will know that that data is in there. I've read some harassment. I'd love to combine those things. Right. You are ideally, when the data is
But even my hair would be down. Well, you've already biased me.
Yeah. I have contact, yes, HDI up here. And you've got a certified mobility specialist that works with lines right there. He's helping us.
I got a lot of I found out that I was supposed to do like this. Here's another level. And like I could say, yes, these images.
I will contact you, I would like to get together as soon as possible. Right. You have what you go back, little card that.
I'm looking for somebody.
Looks like you're driving around.
Yes,
Okay, somebody, I thank you so much. It's nice to see you again, Jackie. I'll be in touch.
Like I'm saying, we'll meet on that.
Like, if you got in a monster,
Yes, that is.
Okay.
Whatever visual.
One second, he's been waiting down. Because that person, right, because that person.
I just like,
They have fed their mother.
for something that I just
I'm really sorry, I just want to introduce myself.
So there's consensus from them, from the. So here's what my family. Did you guys show that?
Yeah, I got
The
it.
Riley.
Sorry, we should talk.
Recognize their. Oh, that's
I thought it was
okay.
going to be a learn, but I'm first.
Somebody, healthcare.
Right, you have to feed it that.
Yes.
And that works, get the first education. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. You have to have somebody that.
Well, thank you, Corey. Right, but I mean, in this case, we don't need to use right now, it's more so. User is, okay, so this user, since it's gonna be on their local, their local user, then they don't have to worry about people hacking and changing out their picture of their mother with some picture of somebody else, the president,
Exactly.
and then tricking them, so they don't have to worry about their data being hacked. Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the blockchain is one of the more
Right,
secure forms.
exactly.
Yes.
That's why it's in the blockchain, so as opposed to other, recognition systems that aren't necessarily.
The standard RSA keys. This is a lot
Yes,
more secure.
I talked to NASDAQ, yeah, I talked to NASDAQ yesterday, yeah.
This is
It
cool.
is blockchain.
Yeah.
They
It's
might be the
underlying,
third
but it
place, like with
establishes,
IBM, Microsoft, and
yeah, trust
NASDAQ,
in-
that's
you
kind
can
of close
verify,
to us, that
you know.
they might be the third place, they know, no.
I plan to start
I'm not sure if it's their blockchain data,
enough people
Oh,
say
that's
that
great.
this is
Mhm.
the parking lot, or this is, Capital Factory, you
It's
tend to
exciting stuff going
trust that,
on
and if
here,
somebody
yeah.
explicitly verifies it,
Right.
then you've got that authentication.
Right.
Exactly.
Did you two meet? I
I found it very interesting.
You
No,
got connected.
it's great.
Yeah. So where did you move here from?
So I know Karen
And you
mentioned,
came here from?
Walmart is doing,
Yeah. Oh, wow. So what's that talking
and I
about
know
up
there's a
there?
startup.
It does.
Okay.
Yesterday, yeah.
Supply chain as well, so
It's in the US.
Where's this coming from?
where's this
Tell me
coming
where we're
from?
traveling here.
Great application.
Houston. Okay. So
You
that's
guys
good.
are right.
So that's great.
But
It's so nice to.
anything that has a non-simple global supply chain, there are points of deception.
International fishing industry is the most regulated industry in the world. More than a lot of things that you think would, like, nuclear raw material.
But still,
You
most of
think
the
that would
fish
be more
is-
regulated, it's not.
get mislabeled,
Yes.
at the retail level.
Fish is mislabeled,
Mis-
it's the weight, somebody can just lean on a scale
Yeah.
and screw up the weight and charge somebody more, so, yeah. So many different ways.
There's so many applications, but, you start with one that is Riley, you do Riley, and then you work with banks to, or regulation type of
That's where my question was kind of
verifying,
came from. The data that you don't have that you
this is
need
the
to know,
authentic
like Watson Web,
application for
and
a
it
building
just like
permit,
telling
or,
somebody, hey, there's an object coming, but we don't have
international,
data for it,
if
like,
there's
where's-
cross-country
Yeah.
Dubai, they have to connect up
Where are
between
you guys
countries, you
finding
can,
that data, and like, are you guys labeling
have
them?
licenses
Yep, and
seamlessly from both
Yep,
sides.
and it's all up in the
Well,
platform,
we're looking
it's
at
not
like
on
the-
somebody's
do
weird
this as
server
a
here,
geographic
and you have to make it talk
project,
to
so
somebody's
like the
weird
very
server
first
over
Yeah.
there, it's all up on
project
one
would be
platform,
a
and
360
maybe two different data layers.
outside the
or
school
one data
from
layer,
a-
all
a
Even
just
within the
fixed
city,
point,
you
right?
have
Just
Yeah.
different
through the
departments trust that, okay, if
someone
they
can say,
make changes to their
look around,
licensing,
well, they're gonna be able to do that without
it
pointing
gets
their phone
authenticated
anywhere.
somehow.
Yeah,
Because Watson's gonna already know
Electrical
what's
changes
there.
here,
And then it's gonna look for
Transportation.
exceptions, like it's gonna say,
Type
okay,
stuff.
I know we are
There-
outside the
there's
school.
a lot of good,
There's,
crazy
shrubberies to your right,
How hot,
to
and you
your
guys
left,
must
and
be
the
heads
sidewalk
down
in
to
front of you.
Yeah, we
October
started,
1st.
we started the heads down period, and
Oh, and
Karen's
there's dog
on
waiting
vacation
next to
for 2
the
weeks, so.
And then
I'm
that'll
gonna
be
be
done
living
within
in
the
her
next session.
apartment,
Yeah.
and
That'll
watching
be
the
real
dog,
time.
so I'll be down here with the tomorrow.
Okay.
So, it's a great like a serve guys, something for lunch and dinner.
Let us know.
Yeah, yeah.
My card, right?
You never.
We just got the card, so.
Yes, I think I have your, I have an idea,
Looks like I have it. We just got it, before the Smart City Conference.
Okay, that's why.
You guys
Yeah.
have already thought about verifying.
But you know what, I haven't,
Like actually
Let me
use
give
your
it to you
app,
now.
realize that somebody's hacked
Oh,
into your phone, showing
because I don't have
you,
a
oh,
friend
no,
on
you're surrounded
LinkedIn.
by
That would
some
be so
crazy
cool.
Yeah,
person.
aliens of 1709,
And
yeah.
I'll give you my email too, so.
It was a really awesome presentation.
Thank you very much, James, very nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's like meeting you too.
Oh,
I
sure.
mean,
You didn't get to stick
no
around
worries,
hard.
that you,
Here you go.
Mola Super,
Blockchain that you have.
that's me.
Guy.
That's my younger self.
Okay.
I still have to change. Yeah, I'm so bad at LinkedIn. I haven't updated my profile in like 4 years.
We went to.
Yes.
the-
It's time.
It's time to do that. But let me give you my email.
And, we.
It's
he
Mola
wasn't the
at
city manager, he was
AstroAR.
like one of the IT guys.
Oh,
that
okay,
works in the
so-
city. And, when he heard I used.
You are
thought I was blockchain,
LYNNE
first thing he said,
at
we need it for housing.
KilroyBlockchain.com, right?
No, actually, I know what you mean.
Oh, it's just LYNN?
I'm developing a proposal
Sweet, I have Karen's card.
that is,
And let me get my, I have a,
basically, it's just a create, whatever the construction is, I set a card.
What does everything all in one.
Everything all in one.
One number to rule them all.
Yes. Exactly, precisely.
You know,
Yeah.
That's fun.
No, that was.
Yeah.
it may not.
No,
be
I didn't realize you guys were presenting. I just, I get the Meetup email and I just, said, oh, this is cool, smart cities, and I didn't even read it. I said, I just signed it, put it on the calendar and, hopped on over.
I thought that somebody else from IBM was going to show up, but not this month. Next month, yes. Somebody from IBM is going to.
At the Galvanize?
Galvanize
Yeah.
and
Okay.
There is,
whatever they do.
The
I'm
17th.
trying to think of which best
Okay.
sources.
No,
to
and
just
that
get
will be hands-on.
started. There's
That
a
will
lot
be-
of good
Mhm.
sources. I would go to IBM's site and watch,
No, that would be
there's
nice.
some
I'd love to
videos that
see,
they have that are really good
as
about
they work through
blocking
examples
basics.
or use existing examples to say this is what.
It's just IBM.com. But if you send me an email, I'll send
It's
you a
wicked
list of
smart.
resources.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
All right.
I'm so
Great to
excited
meet
to make
you.
this application.
Thank you again for coming. Thank you for
When we're able to
participating so
demo
much.
this to everybody, it's gonna be so cool. Because right now, there are a couple of other companies, one of them is Microsoft. They have an engineer
Yeah, they
who
have,
is
it's a fairly
going
active
to
group.
develop
Have at least every couple of months.
a bot also
And,
to get around.
and it's
But his is not conversational. There are, there's Microsoft, there's a couple of other companies that develop, visually impaired devices. And they identify objects, but that's all they do. They're very one-dimensional, and they say, there's a blue chair in front of you, there is a green car in front of you. But they don't have a conversation with you, and that's where Watson is gonna come in. It's gonna just keep learning.
They
that it's
are. I
not-
have a
it's
story
not-
because I'm like, I already
Yeah,
got
and
a
then,
camera.
yeah,
Last
that
year,
is
I'm
gonna
like,
be nice for that person. But when you guys know that, people can immediately grasp it.
They
They
all
can't,
do.
it's harder to grasp, in my opinion. You know, like supply chain for the food verification.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, but having a blind person tell me what is wrong.
And it's gonna be even like, it's gonna be like, it's gonna have humor like Siri, and it's gonna be, cause I'm gonna feed it humor.
Riley?
I'm
Put
gonna
some
feed
cuss
it
words in
music.
it.
Yeah, it's gonna have Lynn's personality.
I'm gonna feed it.
That's why it's called Riley.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Max Headroom. We're gonna tap her in there.
Yeah,
You
so.
don't want to be going over that way.
You don't want to go there, turn right, it's more fun over there.
Those people, you don't wanna know
There's
them.
shade, there's shade over there, there's, there's a good restaurant over there, there's 3 restaurants, but I like this one. And it's gonna be better, so it's gonna be, people are gonna be talking about Riley like they talk about Siri and Alexa. That's
I
our,
do
that's my
imagine,
goal, I'm ambitious.
And you should smile every time you hear him say it, right?
Yep.
Application, it's a great vision.
Yes.
Do you envision like this, it's an internet connected device, right, to be able to go back to Watson? What if you don't have a connection?
What
Do you
if
have a
you lose
local?
your connection?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like an offline,
an offline version that isn't as conversational, but
Yeah.
still identifies stuff.
right, at a first level. Think about that because, you could be in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
if you're outside of an urban area, right? You might not necessarily have high-speed connectivity, but, that would service.
But you could still like not die, or
Right.
get lost.
Right there, and you could have that first dimension, this is a fire hydrant, there's a
Mhm.
stop sign, just to inform you.
There's that. I'd also like to take it out on some, they have trails for blind people to
Yeah.
walk along, that they have a rope, and I'd like to get that out in one of those environments. And, so if somebody gets lost, that it'll guide them back to the path of the rope.
Yeah.
They should.
Oh, I didn't tell you about the stuff I saw at the Smart Cities thing. There is a 5G rail, invisible rail that you can make. What's that?
Hi.
Oh,
We're still recording, I'm probably still recording. I don't know for sure.
Oh,
it's a,
cameras are everywhere.
Yeah. My entire conversation with Richard is on YouTube from a couple months ago. Talking about my son.
good thing nobody watches it.
How do you turn this off, or?
Yeah, it's probably done.
I don't know when
if
it turns off or not.
not.
Yeah, it may, I don't know if it runs until 8:30 because the meeting is set to go from 7 to 8:30, or if somebody was watching it and they turned it off when, you know,
Yeah,
at a certain
there's
point.
no review here, so.
Well, let's get out of here. I think that's our cue.
Matt,
No, this is simple.
I'm so
It's,
glad you came.
No.
Good to see you.
It was great. Let's
Yeah.
get some lunch or coffee and all that.
Definitely. I just want to let you
Well,
introduce you to our
it's,
latest person.
Dorothy.
Dorothy, good to meet you.
Mullen, okay, so he is one of the people at Astral AR. They do, artificial, AR and VR. And they're working with, the city of Austin to create a drone system that goes into fire and rescue. Buildings that are unsafe, they're on fire
Yeah, yeah,
or
sure.
collapsing.
Well, it's public safety
Yes.
drones, so we're building
Part of
we build a piloting system. It is,
So interesting.
so
Yes.
that is, it's a piloting system that's powered by artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and the piloting system is put on.
I just wanna make sure there's no junk
And then,
sitting around.
you as a pilot, like a police officer, firefighter, wearing a little helmet visor, and then you can fly that drone into an area, you know, SWAT team can have an assessment, or a fire team can go and, have a drone in a building. That way you can reduce, risk.
Casualties.
Casualties. And then you can control that drone remotely, and, the idea is to, remote controls with, hands. So, three different hands.
I rode my bike and I've got my computer and all those cookies, but I might need some help.
Whatever, like the camera on
Um,
the drone is seeing, you get that visual feed in that, in your helmet.
Right.
And then you can actually.
There's a way to fit your bike in my car.
Is, you know,
You fit everything in your car.
building has, you know, so many
Maybe
floors. So
I
you try to
can-
feed in that data
Or I
to
can
help the
take
firefighter.
your,
My stuff and meet me back there or something.
Wonderful idea.
meet you in front of your building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you wanna stop and go for,
presentation the other day.
drink with Dorothy?
Yeah, I mean, we can
Maybe
just,
Malik wants to go. We're
yeah,
probably still
we can just go
broadcasting.
downstairs.
We hear a lot of drones are used for recreation photography, which is great.
Well, I think
Drones
Richard's
are-
gonna,
you
wants to
wanna
meet us
use
too.
the drones for, you know, municipality assistance, you know, search and rescue, fire assessments.
Yeah, but if we go anywhere, I'm gonna need, I'm gonna need to put this
I'll have a
downstairs.
chance to meet you again.
In my car.
These guys have already been to our office, a few weeks ago, and
Well, maybe
you're
we
more than
can,
welcome to come over to our, you know, it's an open house policy, we're on the east side. Very
Oh, well, Dorothy rode with you.
Just,
Yes.
just hopping over, I don't have my car.
You don't have a car.
I know, it's right
But I
and,
can,
except for my bike, I have to drive there.
Okay, great.
So,
We met
did
the first
Tiff
time.
give you this too?
No, I
We
asked.
just- It seems like we've been going through it for a while, but we keep running into each other. Definitely.
He sure did, we drank all of it.
Well, thank you, Dorothy, it was a pleasure meeting you.
I'll have to remember next time.
Bye, Peter. Bye, Lynn.
Hey, do you wanna go, do you wanna go with us?
Probably go somewhere, have a drink or something.
Well, I can have a drink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you have time, Dorothy?
Sure.
I think Richard wants to meet us too. He had to go get his daughter.
But he doesn't wanna come back here, I mean, it would be so convenient if he could just come back here. And we can drink downstairs, just so that,
What's that bar like?
it's good.
Okay.
The drinks are pretty, I mean, the drinks are pretty nice there, it's not, I don't know what time it closes, but it is a bar, so probably closes like 11 midnight somewhere.
That's a hotel,
So
so
that's-
that's a bar should be open.
Yeah, it should be open till 1, but it's Austin, it's corny. Okay.
Have a drink and go get the parking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought like, parking is, free after 6 p.m., but, I realized in this area,
Not here.
it's only Monday through Wednesday.